session, for me at least, I'm going to use a time-honored presenter trick to get you guys motivated and moving around by the old show of hands question. Show of hands, how many of you are a Yanni? There we go. How many of you are a Laurel?
I haven't seen this movie yet.
How many of you are like, what the hell is Mike talking about? Well, guys, get with your social virals, because since we've come to conference, Yanni Laurel has taken the nation by storm. Basically, it's an audio file that you listen to, and then it either sounds like Yanni or it sounds like Laurel. Yeah, there you go. So I'm a Laurel, in case you guys couldn't tell. Yeah, and you totally thought I was going to ask you how many of you use Snapchat, right? No lame questions here. So, who am I besides the guy who asks weird questions in presentations? I'm Mike Peters. I'm the Director of Digital Marketing at J. Miller Marketing. I am not an employee of Snapchat. We are silver partners with Snapchat, so that means that we work closely with them in developing their platform, running ads, determining best practices, and that gets us into a lot of cool betas and a lot of cool case studies and findings of their own. But most importantly, it gets my rep to send me this t-shirt for free. So, way to go, Preston. I've also worked in the industry for over 15 years. I've placed ads on pretty much anything you can place ads on. Digital is kind of what I've worked into. Try to learn all that I can about it. And so Snapchat naturally comes into my wheelhouse, and so I've kind of embraced it as a new platform and trying to find out the best way to use it for all of our clients. That said, great at Snap Ads, terrible at actual Snapchat. I do not use it very well. My daughters get the most function out of it. They will pull up the filters and they'll turn themselves into cats or panda bears or unicorns or princesses. They love that stuff. I can keep them entertained for hours. And between that and YouTube, I got lots of free time. But I myself cannot do the Snapchat filters very well. But the Snap Ads, good. So here's what we have learned with all of our test cases and all of the experience we've gotten since it opened in October. There are, just like Facebook, you start your campaign by setting your ad objectives. So ad objectives tell Snapchat basically who it should be targeting your ads to based off of their behaviors and how they use the platform. So if you are running a drive traffic to my website ad, Snapchat's going to look for people who traditionally click on those ads that click over to websites. They're looking for clicky people, as they call them. With the app stuff, not really relevant here, but they're looking for people who actively download apps or engage with apps. What we're really focused on here, signaled by me giving you guys the OK symbol, is the drive video views and the grow awareness objectives. These are pure brand awareness objectives. They're all about getting your name out there to relevant audiences, establishing a frequency and a reach so that you become top of mind as they're swiping through their Snapchat stories. Once you've determined your ad objective, then we get to set the targeting. And so one thing I wanted to address is geo-targeting. It's not on this slide, but when Snapchat first opened to the local advertisers in October, the geo-targeting was a lot more limited than it is now. We could only target on DMA levels, then they got a little better, we could target actual zip code lists. Now they've gone and they've given us the radius targeting. So we can set up your store's address, we can target a radius around that, so it's a lot more pinpoint than it used to be. We don't have to worry about targeting the state or the DMA, we're a lot more focused. And in addition to that, we have all these cool data-driven audiences that we can target. So we have Snapchat lifestyle categories. That is determined based off of the types of content you're looking at Snapchat. So if you're looking at lots of how-to beauty videos, you're going to fall into that sort of targets. We can target you based off of that. Then we have the DLX advanced demos. DLX stands for Datalogix. They're a data company. They gather data from all sorts of data points, and they feed that data into Snapchat. So we can target people based off their household income, their parental status, how many kids they have, that type of thing. Then we get into the DLX shoppers. So now they're going to pull offline data, offline shopping data. They're going to parse over credit card statements, bank statements. They're going to see where people are shopping, and then we can target based off of that. So if you're shopping at lots of fashion or clothing stores, we can target that specifically because they're obviously a fashion shopper. ComScore viewers, that's based off of television viewing habits. So if there are particular shows that fit with your demographic, we can target those specifically. Place IQ visitors, this is another data company that's providing a lot of geolocation data, and so we can target based off of where people are going, whether they're going to your store, your competitor's store, relevant stores like a Gap or an Old Navy, or even we can target like event places. So if there's a big Taylor Swift concert, we can target that venue and get people who've been there, show them with your ads. And then finally, we have Experience Advanced Demos, which is just like the Datalogic Advanced Demos. It's just coming from the credit card company Experian versus Datalogic's. In addition to all of those third-party data providers that we're pulling in data and creating our audience, we can also rely on first-party data and then what I call machine learning data. And so with first-party data, that's your data. And so we can target people based off of their visit to your site, the way they engage with your Snapchat ads. But the coolest feature probably is we can take the loyalty program you have through 5 stars, upload it into Snapchat. What Snapchat's going to do is going to look for people who have the email address that they've assigned, or the email address or the phone number they've assigned to their 5 stars. They're going to look for that same person who's used that phone number or that email address in Snapchat. So now they create this custom audience that we can target explicitly your loyalty program members. So it's great for re-engagement, letting them know about events, getting them back into the store. But where it goes to the next step, perhaps the next creepier step, is we look at that loyalty audience that we've created in Snapchat. They can provide what's called a lookalike audience. So they turn their AI loose and it looks for patterns in the data, like what are these people on your loyalty program, what things and characteristics do they exhibit uniformly, and that we can go and target with other people who don't know about you. So what it's doing is it's creating an audience who looks exactly like your most loyal customers. They just don't know about you. So it's a great way to expand your reach, get new customers, new relevant customers who are much more likely to come into your stores. We're seeing fantastic engagement rates when we're using lookalike audiences. We see them perform up to 3 times better than any other audience. Even when we're using all that cool other data, the lookalike audiences, the power of that machine learning is really helping us out in terms of reaching the most relevant audience. The little silver ghosty guys, that just means those are unique to Snapchat partners. So if you're running ads with somebody who's not a Snapchat partner, these things aren't going to be available to them. One of the benefits of being a Snapchat partner is you get access to these types of betas. So keep that in mind if you try to go out and do this on your own and you're like, oh, Mike talked about pixel audiences and I don't see that anywhere. Well, sadly, it's something only a partner can do. So take note of that, please. So targeting best practices. We've run tons of ads in Snapchat now. We've been able to kind of gather a lot of knowledge and learnings and best practices here for you. So as I said at the top of this, video view and grow awareness. Those are the 2 that you want to focus on. Those are the ones that are going to grow that brand awareness in your market. And you're going to get in front of the right people at the right time. In terms of like targeting your audiences, right now Snapchat has what's an and relationship and not an or relationship with targets. So all of those cool target audiences that I talked about, we can use all those, but you can add them and you keep adding them, and it makes a big number. Like your reach number is going to go crazy, but what you lose when you're adding all these targets is that you can't see granularly how each one is performing. It is all kind of lumped into this is your target bucket. So you don't know if you're targeting people who watch Pretty Little Liars and people who like to buy shoes and people who are in the area. All that's lumped into one, so you don't know which one of those 3 is performing the best. And so in terms of optimizing your campaigns, seeing what's driving the best results, you don't have that visibility. So try to limit your target to closely knit themes so you know, like, my shoe buy is doing really well versus my Pretty Little Liars isn't doing too well. So you can adjust, and the next time you run a campaign, you have much better results. Lookalikes, use those lookalikes whenever possible. As I said, they're very good in terms of driving engagement, and they look exactly like your best customers. So why would you not want to target, clones of your best customers? One thing to note when running Snapchat ads is that there is currently a $50 a day minimum spend. This means that any flight of Snapchat ads you're going to run, you need to spend a minimum of $50. If you try to go lower than that, they won't let you run. This typically means that what happens is we have to flight Snapchat. You can't run Snapchat for $50 a day across the entire month. That budget gets too much. But we do run flights of maybe 5 to 7 days, maybe an on-off type weekly schedule, and we're seeing great results there. You're kind of like stacking up, you're starting to run at the beginning of the week, leading into the weekend event, and so people are getting aware, and by the time the event happens, it all comes to a head, and they're in your store. And so that kind of $50 minimum a day, forcing us to do flighting has actually worked for our benefit, rather than kind of trying to have a much lower frequency consistently throughout the month. So we've set our targets, our objectives. What creative are we going to use? Right now, we're only using the top snap ad. So this means it's that vertical ad runs the length of your phone, and it runs between your friends' stories. They just open it up so you can get into the Discover tab now. But we're running mid-stories now. There's another ad, and we're running very short ads, so like 3 to 10 seconds. There's the long-form video, which is minute plus. Snapchat's a very, very poor attention span channel, so you want to be very fast because they're going to swipe at you, and they don't typically have enough time to sit around and watch a minute plus ads. So we're focusing on these 3 to 8 second ads so that we're getting that brand awareness before they swipe away. Video views, those are kind of hit and miss. It depends on if your objective really requires them to come to your website and get more details. If that is the case, maybe we'll run those. Story ads, if you were doing Snapchat yourself and you had a whole stable of like Snapchat content, you had stories, you wanted to promote a certain story or a batch of stories, story ads is where it is. And then those camera filters that Tara talked about, this is where they originate from. They originate from the Snap Ads Manager, so all that would be from here as well. So creative best practices. Again, it's a short attention span medium, and so you need to know how to create ads that work best for that environment. First off, design for sound. Over 60% of people using Snapchat are using it with their sound on. So you want to have some sort of music or some sort of quick voiceover that they can hear in addition to seeing the images. A single strong call to action. You don't want to try to cram a bunch of concepts into one ad because, again, they're only going to focus for 3 seconds, 8 seconds at the best. So you want to make sure they get that one message quickly, and then they can just swipe off. So short and sweet, single call to action, that's the key. And then freshness, unique content, always changing up that creative, altering the creative, just giving a little some different flair so it catches the eye again is very important. Snapchat is as mysterious with their algorithm as any of the big channels are. So we don't really know what goes behind it, but we do know that creative freshness is one of those factors. We've been able to see in our metrics a certain point where that creative gets stale and we see our impressions go down and our costs go up. So keeping that content fresh, even if you're just changing like the color of the background, is something that helps combat that. So always keep that aware and keep your content fresh. And here's some fresh content right here. So we got a short little thing, some music, and it's eye-catching. It catches your eye for a brief second there, and you get the point. So it's nothing more difficult, nothing more produced than that. It is kind of like a more raw medium than your Instagrams. You're not going in and putting on the perfect filter and like adjusting out softening features or anything like that. People actually turn to Snapchat as more of that kind of live, no production, low production, no frills type medium. So keep that in mind as well. So once you start running Snap Ads, you're going to log into your dashboard. You're going to be able to see all these exciting metrics that us digital marketers love to see, but most people are like, what does that mean? What is a CPSU? That's a cost per swipe up. And so that's telling us how much it costs per person swiping up and like learning more information. So you have your impressions, your cost per thousand, that's CPM. That's the amount of money it costs to reach 1,000 people. And we're looking at these metrics to see, how things are performing. Are we getting efficient impressions? Are we getting engagement through our ads? I pulled all the numbers for all the accounts that we ran, and just to give you guys kind of a benchmark idea of what it costs. An average cost per swipe up is a little under 70 cents. An average cost per thousand is a little under $2. In terms of like those costs, it's actually pretty affordable. If you look at like your Facebook or your Instagrams, you're going to see much higher cost per swipes or cost per clicks or cost per engagements. CPMs are a little higher. It's because Instagram is a much more competitive environment right now. Snapchat just opened up. It's low competition right now, whereas Instagram has everybody in it right now. So if you're getting in Snapchat right now, you're getting in kind of the ground floor, and so you're going to have some cost advantages working in your favor. One thing to note when you run Snapchat ads, if you jump into your analytics after you run your flight, you're going to see these huge spikes. And you're going to be like, hey, this is fantastic. Look at this, all this site traffic I'm getting from Snap ads. They are the best. Know that that is kind of misleading. See, what happens is Snapchat, when they're displaying your ad, in the background they're loading your site, because what they want is the optimal mobile experience. And the optimal mobile experience is if somebody swipes up, they're going to go immediately to your site. They don't want to go to your site and your site's going to load. They want it right there. And so what happens is Snapchat preloads your ad, or preloads your site. When they preload your site, that registers as a session in analytics, and so you're going to see these big spikes. Unfortunately, there's no way right now to tell Instagram don't preload or somehow not make it show up in your analytics. So what we do on our end is we can code our click-through URL so that we can isolate Snapchat traffic, and so you can look at your channels and you can see, okay, Snapchat drove all of these sessions. If we subtract that from our overall sessions, we know what our normal sessions are. So please note that, and so when you see that big spike, know that it's kind of misleading because it's being preloaded. So Tara's already mentioned that Snapchat changes a lot. They've changed their user interface a couple times, and they changed the back end for advertisers a lot as well. Features that they used to that didn't exist now exist. I'll log in one day and be like, where did that thing go? Oh, it's over here, or it's a new thing now. So they are changing, they are learning, they're growing, especially in the ad side, because they're constantly trying to tack on more features that have kind of become commonplace in like a Facebook or a Google. They're trying to catch up with them. And so one of the things that they'll be bringing out hopefully sometime this year is business account analytics. So all that stuff that you can see in Instagram in terms of demographic data on who's engaging with your ads, when they're engaging with your ads, what ads are getting, or what posts are getting the most engagement. That doesn't currently exist right now in Snapchat. It's pretty limited functionality for a business trying to do organic things in Snapchat. The business account analytics should help move them in the right direction on that front, but it's not there yet. And so once that comes out, you'll get a better picture into what people are doing with your posts, and so you'll be able to do better optimizations and know what to post at what times. The one thing I'm really excited about are foot traffic insights. So this is my holy grail. It links online to offline, and it will make my job a whole lot easier when I'm talking to clients, but it's going to give us the ability to see people who have been exposed to your Snapchat ads, who then came into your store. And so now, we can tell you, oh, you had great cost per thousand, your click-through rate's fantastic, and you got all these impressions, that's the best. But what you really want to know is, did it drive people into your store? And so when Foot Traffic Insights is released, we will be able to give you an answer. It drove people into your store. It drove 50 people into your store this week. And so that's going to be really exciting. It's not quite out yet. I badger my rep about it all the time when I wasn't asking for my t-shirt. And he's like, oh, it's coming out. So the second it does come out, we will let you guys all know. And we will be able to do some really exciting things in terms of providing value. And then finally, Snap Pixels. So Snap Pixels just came out. They're only available to the beta, the silver partners, the bronze partners, and the gold partners. But again, that allows us to start doing that remarketing. It allows us to start creating those lookalike audiences based off your site traffic. So those are three of the main things that are coming out in the future. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that will come out as well, as they're constantly trying to upgrade themselves. But as Tara has said, it is kind of an unproven platform right now, so we're trying to lower the barrier of entry, or at least let you guys get your feet in the water as much as possible. So we've created a short little Snap ad quiz over the content given in this presentation. If you have played Crack the Code at our booth on Tuesday, you'll have us in your Facebook Messenger. All you got to do is go there and say, quiz me. You'll run a short quiz. If you get all three right, you'll be entered to win a free flight of Snapchat ads. And that's free ad spend, free management, free creative, no obligation, no holds barred, it's just free. If you had not talked to us at the Crack the Code, then all you got to do is go to People, search for J Miller MKG, and start a conversation. Just say quiz me, take the quiz, and you'll be entered to win as well if you get all three questions right. And that is all I've got, so thank you very much.